What's going on, people? Story time and a beer time, and it's not a Bud Light time. I've been asked a question today regarding oil temperature on a C15 cat 2007. No, not 7, 6, 6, 7, BXX and the MXX. And the question was, why is the oil temperature is being so hot? I owned Caterpillars before. I owned a 5EK and 6NZ and 2WX, and I never seen oil going above 180 degrees on a really, really hard pull. So on the newer cats, which newer from 2005 and whatever they quit making them, they did not have oil temperature sensor in the oil pan. They did have gauge, and they were estimating oil temperature. They were not actually getting legit information. They were just estimating from intake temperature and a coolant temperature. And somehow ECM was calculating, did their magic, and it would come up with a number on your dashboard. When I own a 07, the oil temperature, it was way off, so I really didn't pay attention much to it. It's kind of worthless information when you don't have legit sensor. Since I'm talking about the oils, in my personal opinion, what's more important for the cooling is a coolant or oil. On a diesel engine, on a gas engine, is obviously coolant's more important to cooling the engine. On a diesel engine, the oil actually does more cooling than the coolant itself, and I will explain why. Some of you guys are gonna think like, there's no way. Reason is a coolant because coolant does the cooling. No, diesel engines, that's why they have oil coolers. So the coolant actually cools your oil. Reason why, in line 6 engine, I don't have a example to show you, they have jets, nozzles, everybody calls different, and they spray oil underneath your piston, which it cools top of your piston, and that oil being sprayed and then splattered back down in your oil pan actually absorbs majority of your heat and from combustion chamber, and then the oil cycles through the filter and it goes through the coolant cycle by coolant, and it kind of repeats itself. So since we kind of coming in the summertime, lots of people actually kind of ignored that problem, but I think it's really important to wash off your radiator after the winter time, because that thing does collects lots of grime. If you have an override button, well, how you wash off the radiator, I'm talking about on outside. If you have a lot of grime build up in your radiator, which I'm pretty sure it is, because if you drove wintertime, it's a lot of salt, dust, whatever. If you have an override button, so bump up your RPMs to about 1,000 RPMs and turn your override fan on, so the fan be on, and then just stand for, I would say, half an hour, and grab your gardener hose and just keep spraying water, so the water gets pulled through the radiator on the outside, and it will clean the fans out and everything else, and same thing to your condenser. I see when I worked at the shop and when I owned my own equipment, I was did that quite often. A lot of people completely ignore it, and then they complain about it's getting hot and my thermostat's getting stuck or anything. And a lot of times, like a radiator cap doesn't get checked. I hope everybody knows, but I will explain anyways. Why is engines pressurized coolant system? Anytime you pressurize coolant system, you're raising your boiling point up. Did I say that correctly? I think I did. It's same thing if you have a pot of water on a stove and you take the lid off and let it do its thing, it will start boiling quite fast. Then if you come back and put a lid on the top and you pressurize it, the bubbles actually will go away. So keep your radiators clean, and Caterpillar owners, newer ones, '05 to '07, really don't pay attention to your oil temperature gauge. And if it does goes up, I would not really freak out if it shows you 260 degrees, because it's not really 260 degrees. Thanks for watching all.